video is intended to help students know how to write the argument paragraph on the Pearl worksheets. I've had students turn in worksheets that had arguments that did not answer the question of the week, or that they completely skipped writing the paragraphs altogether. This is not acceptable. One of the hallmarks of this course is that you learn how to write a strong paragraph. And if you don't do these Pearl worksheet argument paragraphs, how are you going to get practice writing paragraphs? So I'm going to show you again, reteach this concept to you. So we're in week 5. So you go to the week 5 homework, the Pearl worksheet. That's where you will find the question that you have to answer in the claim of your argument paragraph. Here is the question. Do Kino and Juana believe that people should dress for success? That's the question. I'm going to go ahead and copy that. Then go to the worksheet, which I've already downloaded here. Open your worksheet up, and then it might help you to go ahead and copy and paste the question from the Canvas page so that you know what it is that you're going to be answering. So here is the question. Do Kino and Juana believe that people should dress for success? Now, before you can answer that question, you have to have read the assigned readings for this week. You had to have already finished chapter 4 of the Pearl. If you look back, how do you know what you were supposed to read this week? Well, each week it says weekly readings. Click on that, weekly readings, and you see that this week, week 5, you were supposed to read chapter 4, pages 37 to 53 of the Pearl. So that has to be done before you attempt to do the argument paragraph. It's a good idea to do this part where you put down the quotes and the notes as you're reading chapter 4. Find your vocabulary words. By the way, you have to do 6 quotes. Some of you are just doing 3 quotes or 4 quotes. In order to get full credit, you have to do 6 passages from the novel, from that week's reading. All right, in your argument paragraph, do Kino and Juana believe that people should dress for success? Let's say that you have read the novel, but maybe you're not entirely sure what that means. So you have to think about the question. What does it mean to dress for success? Have you heard that before? If you haven't heard that phrase before, you could Google it, or you could email me to ask me what do I mean by that. But generally speaking, people who dress for success try to put on their best clothes when they go to an important meeting, or maybe for a job interview, for something that means a lot to them. So if you think back to what happened in chapter 4, and you think about where Kino and Juana go and what they put on, that's going to help you know how to answer this particular question. If you need to find, so let's say that you've read it and you remember, yes, they put on their best clothes, and they, how did they want to be successful? Well, they wanted to sell the Pearl for a lot of money. In order to be successful, they felt like they needed to wear good clothes. So this first part says, write a claim sentence that takes a position on this week's question. Okay, so let's take a position. Kino and Juana believed that they should dress for success in order to sell the Pearl for a large amount of money. Okay, but that's not enough. That's just a claim. That has to be supported with evidence. Evidence from where? Well, a direct quote from the story that you read. How do you find the direct quote from the story? Well, you go back to the printed book that I gave you, or you go back to the week's reading, the week's worksheet, there's a digital file available to you. So you click on that digital file. It looks exactly the same as the printed one. It's just in digital format. And you can search. You go to, you can do Control F, and then in the search box type in maybe clothes and see what happens. Then scroll through. We're still in chapter, okay, now we're on the correct chapter. We're on page 45, which is part of chapter 4. And we see this paragraph, and it says, for Kino and Juana, this was the morning of mornings of their lives, comparable only to the day when the baby had been born. This was to be the day from which all other days would take their arrangement. Thus they would say, it was 2 years before we sold the pearl, or it was 6 weeks after we sold the pearl. Juana, considering the matter, threw caution to the winds, and she dressed Coyotito in the clothes she had prepared for his baptism, when there would be money for his baptism. And Juana combed and braided her hair and tied the ends with 2 little bows of red ribbon, and she put on her marriage skirt and waist. The sun was quarter high when they were ready. Kino's ragged white clothes were clean at least, and this was the last day of his raggedness, for tomorrow, or even this afternoon, he would have new clothes. So what does this paragraph tell us? We searched for the word clothes. We found clothes. We know that Juana and Kino are trying to sell their pearl today, right? And so we see that Juana, considering the matter, threw caution to the winds, and she dressed Coyotito in the clothes she had prepared for his baptism, when there would be money for his baptism. So apparently he had some fancy clothes that he had never worn before. Yes, this is proof that they were trying to dress for success. But I think this quote is also good, that she combed and braided her hair and tied the ends with 2 little bows of red ribbon, and she put on her marriage skirt, the skirt that she wore to get married in. So these are all important pieces of evidence that they wanted to dress for success. And Kino's white clothes were at least clean. So you copy the quote that you think is support for the question. Control C is how you copy, and then Control V is paste, and then you tell it you just want to keep the text only. Because this was a quote, I have to do quote marks, and because it came from a PDF file, sometimes I have to address the line spacing. Have to fix that a bit, but that's not too hard. You just move the cursor, use the delete key to get things right. Okay, so, but I don't want to just drop a quote like that. That's called a quote bomb, when you have a quote without setting it up, without saying where it's coming from. So I need a little bit more information here to set this quote up. So I want to say that Juana made sure that Kino's ragged clothes were clean. And then, let's see, before leaving to sell the pearl, Juana made sure that Kino's ragged clothes were clean. And then she, quote, dressed Coyotito in the clothes she had prepared for his baptism, when there would be baptism. And Juana combed and braided her hair and tied the ends with 2 little bows of red ribbon. And she put on her marriage skirt and waist. So I'm going to use all of that as a quote. Now I'm going to say what page it's from. It's from page 45. That's where the quote was from, period. So here is my claim. Kino and Juana believed they should dress for success in order to sell the pearl for a large amount of money. before leaving to sell the pearl, Juana made sure that Kino's ragged clothes. So I'm going to change this to this color. And now write an analysis sentence that explains and elaborates on the quote you selected. So even though they did not currently have enough money to pay for a wedding, remember they didn't have a church wedding, or a baptism for Koyo Tito, Juana thought it was important to, Juana decided to dress in the special clothes she had set aside for those occasions. It was important to look their best when they went to town to meet the pearl buyers. Okay, there is my analysis, and I'm going to put that in another color. I think I'm just going to do, I'll just do that. There we go. Okay, so now here is my claim. Here is some evidence from the text, and here is my analysis. This is how you write it. You have to find evidence from the actual text. You can do Control F to find passages in the electronic version of the Pearl. You can also do Control C to copy and Control V, like Victor, to paste. If you have any additional questions about how to do these argument paragraphs, please reach out to me and let me know. I'm going to assume that you have watched this video and that you do understand and that you will put forth a strong effort to get claim, evidence, and analysis every time you do one of these Pearl argument paragraphs.